Good evening and welcome to the September 23rd meeting of the Florissant City Council. If we can all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, if you can, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Pagano? Here. Parson?
Present.
Siam? Here. Harris? Here. Manganelli? Here. Egan? Here. Caputa? Here. Shildroth? Here. O'Donnell? Here.
All right, so we do have a quorum present, and we can go on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of minutes. Are there any corrections, additions to the meeting minutes of September the 9th, 2024? All right, hearing none, Councilman Egan moves to approve the minutes, seconded by Councilman Caputa. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, the meeting minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is a proclamation for Good Neighbor Week in the city of Florissant. Madam Clerk, if you can please read the proclamation.
Yes, sir. Whereas research shows that neighborhoods are a vital factor in creating safe, healthy, and inclusive communities, neighborhoods, and neighborhood by neighborhood. Whereas the vast majority of Americans do not know the name of their neighbors and believe a good neighbor is someone who is quiet and leaves them alone. Whereas research shows an alarming rise in isolation and loneliness, which impacts physical health, mental health, life expectancy, polarization, and well-being. Whereas current research shows many Americans suffer from lack of personal relationships, which leads to isolation, depression, and anger. And whereas one recent study showed people who know 6 or more of their neighbors have decreased levels of social isolation and loneliness compared to people who do not. Whereas research shows that developing positive neighbor relationships positively impacts mental health, life expectancy, and physical health for individuals. And whereas research shows that developing positive neighborhood relationships positively impacts disaster response, civic engagement, crime prevention, and economic resilience for entire communities. Whereas developing positive relationships means stepping out of your home and connecting with neighbors who help build a social support system in your neighborhood. Whereas neighboring is an opportunity to be thankful for those living nearest us, a chance to be a blessing or generous, and an opportunity to also receive. Whereas good neighbors help us to create good neighborhoods and vibrant communities. Whereas we know to have good neighbors, you must be first a good neighbor yourself. Whereas the City of Florissant has officially declared September 28th through October 4th as Missouri Good Neighbor Week. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Timothy J. Lowry, Mayor of the City of Florissant, Missouri, proclaimed September 28th through October 4th as Missouri Good Neighbor Week in the City of Florissant. And I call upon the people of Florissant to join me in observing this week by introducing yourself to and getting to know and celebrating your neighbors.
All right, thank you. Outstanding. Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Always good to know your neighbors. So. All right, the next item on the agenda is hearing from citizens. This is a time to speak to the council on any issue not necessarily on the agenda for 3 minutes. This is not a question and answer period. If you would like to speak to a council member or the mayor, please stay until after the meeting is over. If you are here to speak on a public hearing, please wait and speak when the public hearing is announced. Do we have any yellow cards? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is communications, of which there are none. The next item on the agenda is public hearings, and it's public hearing number 2409031. Madam Clerk, if you can, please read the public hearing.
In accordance with Section 405.135 of the Florissant Zoning Code, a public hearing will be held by the City Council of Florissant, Missouri in the council chambers at 955 Rue St. Francois on Monday, September 23rd, 2024 at 7 p.m. on the following proposition. To amend an existing B5 to allow for a sit-down, carry-out, drive-through restaurant located at 13101 New Halls Ferry Road for Abelardo's Mexican Food, LLC, DBA Abelardo's Mexican Fresh. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs should contact city clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7600 or cityclerk@florissantmo.com.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is the petitioner present? right, if you can come on up, sir, please announce your name and let us know what city you are from.
Yes, my name is Bradley Bush. My office is in Creve Coeur, Missouri.
Okay, thank you so much,
Yep.
Mr. Bush. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Thank
Might
you.
need to use the cordless system.
And I am just the broker representing the tenant. They are out of state and couldn't be here this evening.
Okay, all right. Can you please explain what their project is, what your project is? to
Absolutely.
everyone
So
here today?
Abelardo's Mexican Fresh is a authentic / Tex-Mex restaurant chain based out of Omaha, Nebraska. They just hit 59 restaurants throughout the Midwest. They're working their way through Missouri. They have 2 open in the St. Louis MSA. We have 2 more signed leases, of which this is one of them. And I'm helping them roll out their brand within this market. They're taking and utilizing existing former fast food drive-through locations. That's their model. It fits into the economics of what they do. They partner with family and friends, so it's a lot that they have the labor side of this really dialed in and figured out. They've got an excellent product and a heck of a following. Kansas City is doing gangbusters for them. They have one open in Columbia, Missouri, with another that they just closed on, and would love to be open and operating in Florissant.
Okay, well, thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Bush. That, the proposed location is in Ward number 8, which is my ward, so I
Yeah.
have a couple of questions that
Sure,
I'd
absolutely.
like to ask you about. Some you've already answered.
Yeah.
I was concerned or curious as to
Yeah.
whether or not they had other locations in the area. Sounds like that's not the case. I looked online and saw a similar name for a place in Veneta Park.
Veneta Park is one of their locations.
There is one- that is one of
They
theirs.
purchased that former Jack in the Box there, and then they're in St. Peters, Missouri as well.
Okay,
So,
so there's going to be a total.
and they're about to open in Ellisville on Manchester Road in a former Jack in the Box as well.
Okay.
So they've gone through that whole process and got through city council and got that approval for their CUP there.
All right, so, and looking at your petition, we do see that you're going to make some changes to the building. If you can explain a little bit about what you guys plan to do.
So through planning and zoning, we submitted some color scheme, which they paint the building. They're going to conform with the requirements of the city for the signage, utilizing the existing pylon and just do their storefront sign on the building. Outside of that, I mean, it's updating the landscaping and cleaning everything up. I think what's happened there with Plaza Madrid not getting redeveloped, this is they're wanting to gentrify this property a little bit and bring this up and clean it up. So we're trying to get also, and we'd love the city's help to get the potholes on the access road through there cleaned up. They would love to see that. Somewhat outside of their control because it's not necessarily theirs, but it's an easement. So that's something that they would love to get cleaned up too, and get this store open.
Yeah, you must have been reading my mind about the potholes. I actually drove by there before
Yeah.
I came here tonight, and of course, what I do, I hit a big pothole when I was driving on
Yeah,
there.
they would love to see that cleaned up. So any help we could get on the current owner of Plaza Madrid, because it's really controlled by that entity that has the development rights. So it's not necessarily controlled by the restaurant property owner.
Okay, so in terms of the color scheme, I don't want to assume, but is it going to be similar to the Mexican flag or what?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very similar to Veneta Park. I think they did a good job. And you know, they don't want this recognizable as much as a former Church's Chicken. So they want to put their own stamp on it. But yeah, it's just their color scheme.
Okay. My other question is, I know it's supposed to be a sit-down restaurant also. Doesn't look like it's very big, so what
Yeah,
are
so
you planning on doing?
the plan was go in for submittal for sit-down also. I think there was only like, I don't know, 4 to 6, I mean, it was very small dining within the existing churches. They'd like to have the ability to do that and assess, meaning have the ability to do dine-in, but they may just operate this potentially as drive-through takeout only. But they'd like to monitor that as they open and see what the community wants and what makes sense for dine-in.
Okay.
So it's existing infrastructure. That's why they submitted for dine-in also. But it's to be determined how they'd like to operate that.
All right. So going back a little bit to the painting, I don't know if you have much information about our brick painting ordinance. Have you been?
We discussed that. We discussed that with planning and zoning.
Okay.
I think there is a very small section of existing masonry, we'll call it a block or masonry, and of which I think part of that's been painted also.
Yeah.
So it just, that's what their plan would be to paint over that with their color scheme.
Okay.
So very similar again to Veneta Park.
All right, and then the rest of the building is EFIS or EFIS, however you pronounce it. So,
EFIS, yes.
is there any planned changes in regards to that?
They would just, anything that needs to be repaired, they'll repair and then paint. Paint that, correct.
All right. And then next, how long typically does it take for you guys to, or what are your plans on getting this up and running?
I mean, as soon as they can get through health department, all that, I'm not sure the additional building permit side of things, but with this, I mean, they can be open pretty quick. I think equipment's the biggest thing. Make sure, see, does the hood work? Is everything in good working order? And if there's delays on equipment, but the rest of it will move pretty quickly. I mean, I would say within 2-3 months, I would hope. I know they'd love to have it open before the end of the year. It's just how quickly that process can move, I don't know.
Okay. Do you all plan on selling alcohol at your
No,
establishment?
this is a family style. There's no alcohol at all. No beer and wine, no nothing.
Okay. And it sounds like it's going to be mainly carry out, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, drive-through, takeout, yeah, that's the majority of their business. And then, like Veneta Park's infrastructure, that was a drive-through only. So there is no dine-in on that one. That was a double drive-through only. That is ideal, but it's all case by case. St. Peter's has a huge dining room, and it's utilized, and they're doing very, very well out of that. They're doing very well out of both, actually, so.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Well, I believe that's all the questions that I have at this time.
Sure.
I'll go on to, I believe, Councilman Egan. Push this button first.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple questions, sir. Are you a 24-hour operation, or what are the and every day, or what's the operating hours?
So it's case by case, but I don't believe that's at all the case for this location. The latest they might be open, I would think, is around 2 a.m. But it's not 24 hours. To look up and see what they submitted here.
If you're not readily able to locate that, you can perhaps get that for us.
It's in the package that we submitted, so.
While you're looking for that, I would offer that we know that sometimes fast food restaurants can be havens for trash and litter. We would ask that and make a special effort to keep their property clean, which will also keep their neighbor's property clean.
Absolutely. It reflects poorly on the business if they don't. So, and I can attest, as my company is their landlord in St. Peter's, they do a very good job of that for us.
Very good.
So we not only own that property, we own a neighboring property. So we're out there all the time, and they've done an excellent job of doing that.
Mr. President, while he's looking for that, I see some other lights are on, so
Okay, we can move on.
they can pepper him with questions while he's trying to find that.
All right, Councilman Childrath.
Thank you. My question was answered, or is it still to be determined? Answered. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, Councilwoman Pagano.
Good evening. Do you by chance have any color renderings of the building? I didn't get one in the
We
packet.
submitted that with the package. Did you guys not?
I didn't see that.
I haven't seen it.
I just have old photos of churches. That's-
We had a whole package for planning and zoning that was submitted. Did that not make its way through?
I don't know. I didn't see it, but that
I don't believe we received that. Is that something you can send to us?
Absolutely. I can also, if you have, if you just put in Abelardo's Bonita Park, there's a big picture that'll come up of the color rendering of the building.
Okay, all right. Councilwoman Pagano, do you have another question?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Okay.
Just-
I would like to briefly bring up Mr. Hughes, if I could. I just have a couple questions to talk about the painting of the brick, if that's possible. He seems awfully happy about that.
To answer the question.
Okay.
I think this is going to be based on the hours. It's going to be based on kind of what they assess here, but somewhere between 6:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. To around midnight, but it's going to depend on depend on kind of what they see with traffic and all that. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
Thought this was in here.
All right, Mr. Hughes, I just want to briefly see if you can briefly give us an overall, your thoughts on them painting I guess, the part of the brick building that may be there,
Yeah,
why
this
you
was
guys
brought up
recommended
with
approval.
in the P and Z Council, and the amount of brick that they're talking about painting over that's already been painted is very negligible compared to the rest of the surfaces. So it's just a very small strip at the top of the wall, and so it's a very small portion of the building. And like I said, it's already been previously painted, so it's not like they're adding paint on top of it. They're just changing the color, which would trigger them coming to planning and zoning. But since this was an Annex B5 or an Annex B5, they really didn't have an ordinance with us. So that's why they're here with a new ordinance, is to make them an official B5.
Okay, all right, understood. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Councilman Caputa, looks like he has a question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Did you say that all of the restaurants throughout the United States they're all the same color that you're gonna?
They are, and I can show you. I pulled up Bonita Park. If
Yeah,
you'd
you
like.
can put it underneath there, and we should be able to see. You can put your phone down, and we should be able to see. Well, yeah. Yeah, not the greatest, but it's better than nothing.
here.
Okay. There we go. Okay. So it's gonna look exactly like that.
I mean, that's the color scheme, but
Okay.
that gives you an idea. That's their signage and their color scheme, and again, that's 10 minutes from here. So.
Okay.
So them are all the same throughout, all the stores are all the same color, correct?
They are, yeah. They're different restaurants. I mean, they've taken everything from Starbucks to Hardee's to Burger King's, Jack in the Boxes, you name it. utilizing the existing infrastructure is really their model. If it's got a hood that works for them and a drive-through, they're interested. And we've worked on numerous deals here in Florissant, and this is the one that's stuck. So with the other landlords, we just couldn't get deals done. So this is one that they're excited about.
Now, in the future, would you ever have any plans to have a
Excuse me,
double drive-through?
Councilman Caputa, we can't really hear you. Can you put your mic closer to you?
I'm sorry. Do you plan on putting another drive-through in the future possibly, or is it just?
Not
gonna
on
be
this
the
site.
single-
No, it would be a single drive-through.
Single drive-through as
Correct.
of right now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's all I have, thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Councilman Manganelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have one real quick question. Looking at the pictures of the other location, you don't have to bring it up, that's fine, but, excuse me, untie my tongue here. Is there going to be any changes to the facade of the building?
There's no plan to.
So no
If there's any damage, they'll repair it, but there's no plan to do anything to the facade at all.
Okay, all right, that's all my questions, thank you.
All right. Seeing no further comments or questions, before we close this public hearing, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this public hearing? Okay, seeing no further comments, Councilman Parson moves to close this public hearing, seconded by Councilman Siam. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? That motion carried. This public hearing is closed. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mr. Bush.
Appreciate it.
Okay, next we have public hearing number 2409032. Madam Clerk, if you can please read, it would help if I turned on your mic. Okay.
In accordance with Section 405125 of the Florissant Zoning Code, a public hearing will be held by the City Council of Florissant, Missouri, in the council chambers at 955 Rue St. Francois on Monday, September 23rd, 2024, at 7 p.m. on the following proposition: to approve a special use permit to Veterinary Services LLC, DBA Paw Patch Animal Hospital, to allow for an animal hospital located 2520 North Highway 67 in a B3 Extensive Business District. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs to contact the city clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7630 or email cityclerk@florissant.com.
All right, thank you. Is the petitioner present? Yes. Okay, if you can, please come forward, state your name and your city.
Denise Welch Wayland, Florissant.
Okay, so Ms. Welch Wayland, if you can, please tell us a little bit about your project.
So my plan is to hopefully move from the location I am in at this time to the property on Highway 67. I have a horrible landlord.
Okay,
The building is in terrible shape.
all right.
I have to get out.
Those sound like good reasons. Okay. All right, let's go on to Councilman Siam. He's got a few questions here for you.
Hi, Dr. Welch. Thanks for coming tonight. Good to see you. So I just have actually just a couple of questions. I was going to ask, is your new space going to be bigger than your current location? Is it larger, or will it give you more space? Or
No, it's actually a little smaller, but we have a lot of unused space where we are now.
okay, so it works out.
It-
And
oh,
might
yeah.
even be a little cheaper as well.
I
since
hope
it's like-
so, but
Okay.
that doesn't really bother me. It's just a better managed property.
Okay, sure. And when do you expect to open up at your new location?
Well, I guess it all depends on how quickly we can get the inside ready. Have to make a few building, build out changes.
Okay.
So I'm hoping by the end of the year, but I might be a little optimistic.
Okay. Okay. Well, I just want to say thanks for investing in our city and for remaining in it even when you outgrew your current location. And also, just to add to that, thanks for taking such good care of my two cats over the years too.
My
So,
pleasure.
thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Siam. Councilman Harris?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Dr. Is it Welch?
It's Welch, yeah.
Welch, okay. I was wondering, do you have boarding services?
I do not.
Okay, and you don't plan to offer that?
I do not.
Okay, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Harris. Councilman Caputa.
Thank you, my question was answered.
All right, let's move on to Councilman Childron.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to tell you thanks for staying with Florissant, staying here.
Oh, I had no plans of being anywhere else.
And I'm glad you did. Thank you.
All right, seeing no further questions okay, we do have one. Councilman O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Dr. Walsh. I just wondered, do you have multi-physicians, or is it just simply your practice?
I'm a solo practitioner
Gotcha.
right now. Hopefully, I can find someone to come in as a partner.
So as a hospital, do you do surgeries in this
Yes, I do.
location?
Mhm.
So would you ever have to keep an animal overnight, or is that ever a situation that...
It's very rare that I don't do it now, so I don't foresee that in the future. If I do have something that needs to be monitored overnight, I would send it to a 24-hour facility.
Gotcha. Great. Okay. Well, I wish you the best continued. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Councilman O'Donnell. All right, before we close this public hearing, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this public hearing? All right, seeing no further comments, Councilman Siam moves to close this public hearing, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. This public hearing is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is old business. The first item is bills for second reading. We have substitute bill number 10004. Councilman Parson moves to accept the substitute bill, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? That motion carried. Councilman Parson moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Harris. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, Madam Clerk, if you can read the bill.
Ordinance establishing the rate of taxation to be levied upon all real estate and tangible personal property in the city of Florissant, county of St. Louis, state of Missouri for the year 2024 in the payment of interest and principal on the general obligation bonds authorized by the voters at the special bond election on August 2nd, 2022.
Councilman O'Donnell moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Madam Clerk, if you can read for the third time.
Ordinance establishing the rate of taxation to be levied upon all real estate and tangible personal property in the city of Florissant, county of St. Louis, state of Missouri for the year 2024 for the payment of interest and principal on general obligations bonds authorized by the voters in the special bond election on August 2nd, 2022.
Okay. Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this bill? All right, hearing none. Clerk, if you can, please poll the council for the final vote.
Pagano? Yes. Parson?
Yes.
Siam? Yes. Harris? Yes. Manganelli? Yes. Egan? Yes. Caputa? Yes. Shildroth? Yes. O'Donnell? Yes.
All right, bill number 10004 passes and becomes ordinance number 9006. Okay, the next item on the agenda is new business. First item under new business is board appointments. Looks like the mayor has some appointments.
Thank you. I wish to appoint Steve Arthur from Ward 6 to the Veterans Commission.
Being properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? That motion carried.
Thank you. Steve is here in the audience tonight. I just want to tell him I appreciate his service and thank you for wanting to serve on the commission. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, so those are all the appointments. Next item on the agenda is requests. Councilman Siam moves to approve a request for a full package liquor license and Sunday for Casa Garcia Mexican grocery store located at 2726 North Highway 67, seconded by myself. Roll call vote, please. Yes. All right, that motion carried and the liquor license is approved. The next item on the agenda is bills for first reading. We have bill number 10007. Madam Clerk, if you can read the bill. Oh, I'm sorry.
Try that again. Ordinance authorizing an amendment to an existing B5 ordinance for Abelardo's Mexican Food LLC, DBA Abelardo's Mexican Fresh, located at 13101 New Hallsbury Road, to allow for a sit-down, carry-out, and drive-through restaurant.
Bill number 10008. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance authorizing a special use permit to Veterinary Services LLC, DBA Paw Patch Animal Hospital, to allow for an animal hospital located at 2520 North Highway 67 in a B3 Extensive Business District.
Okay, next item on the agenda is council announcements. Looks like we have announcements from Councilman Manganelli.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'll let everybody guess what this announcement will be tonight. But I just want to remind everybody of the Knights of Columbus Florissant Italian Festival this Saturday from noon to 6 o'clock, and the bocce tournament that goes along with it. You got nothing? But we will start making meatballs later this week to get ready. It's going to be a great time. Just pray for no rain. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Manganelli. Looks like we have no further announcements, so let's go to a message from our mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this Wednesday, we'll have a plaque dedication for H. Rose Gronemeyer, which is set for this Wednesday at 5:30. That'll be right in front of the Blue Rose, which is located at St. Francis and St. Jack. Following that will be our last Wednesday night out of the year, which is going to be at Hendel's Restaurant. That'll be from 6 to 9. This is also Hendel's be celebrating their 30th anniversary. This Saturday, we'll have the Suicide Prevention Pickleball Tournament. And we also have, coming up on October the 13th, we have the 27th Annual Florissant Fall Festival, which will be right here on St. Francis Street, starting at 10 o'clock, going until 5 o'clock. And I encourage everybody on October the 1st to get your neighbors together and have a National Night Out party or gathering. And that'll be from 6 to 8. Police have block parties, and the police department, the fire department, myself, and the elected officials here will certainly stop by and say hi and spend some time with you guys. So that's October 1st from 6 to 8. That's National Night Out. And Paul talked about the Italian Festival. And then just one more thing. This weekend we had a tragic event happen. Officer Lee of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department was killed in the line of duty. So I just want to say thoughts and prayers to his family, and certainly all members of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department on their loss. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Truly a tragic situation. So, the next regular meeting for the City Council will be on Monday, October the 14th. Councilman O'Donnell moves to adjourn the regular meeting, seconded by Councilman Childrath. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? This meeting is adjourned.